What's up YouTube? Dale here from Zephyr with another live duel from locals. Now apologies on this one, I clicked record a little bit late, but basically what's happened here is my opponent is on Yubel and I'm on Cool Tunes. They've activated Nightmare Pain, they used Samsara D Lotus, and I chained Mulchomi Full Loss to guarantee a draw. But then it seems like they're just going to set 2 with a Spirit on the field and pass. I'm surprised they didn't shuffle back for Phantom. Not too sure exactly if there was a direct reason for that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe trying to play around an Ash or something. Maybe they felt that Spirit was a little bit more annoying to deal with. So I'm going to start off by normal summoning Kewl. That's going to get hit with the Effect Veiler. We're just contemplating what to chain here because we do have a Cool Tune Synchro in the hand. And it's just making sure that if we chain the Cool Tune Synchro, that we get some sort of advantage from it. Oh, it's not Cool Tune Synchro, apologies. It's Fallen on the Virtuous. So we can chain Fallen on the Virtuous. We're going to send the Titaniclad. We're going to target our own Q to try and dodge the target effect. Destroy the Q, but then still able to resolve the Q's effect to get some monster to the field. The monster to the field we go for is Rico, which is absolutely fine here. Then we're going to try and use Rico. That gets hit with the Infinite Impermanence, and it's, again, contemplating, like, where do we kind of go from here? We've got Herald of the Orange Light, but luckily because Rico, like the Cool Tunes are conditions to use a monster in the hand or a tuner in the hand, it doesn't mind that it's been impermed. We go into RS for the pure fact that, you know, I don't really want to go RS battle phase. There's not really anything I can do here. Like I can't negate the the pain, because then Spirit still can't be destroyed by battle. And then I can't negate the Spirit because then even if I destroy the Spirit, I would still take the damage, and then it will just float into Yubel, and then, you know, it just snowballs from there. So try to keep it in a very, very simplified game state, trying to play through a Veiler and an Infinite Impermanence. Holding back certain effects as well, because we're just using the Rico effect to target the set trap card to get rid of it, which is the Eternal Favourite. Set 1 card and pass. Now, of course, I could have destroyed the Nightmare Pain, then negate the Spirit, and then Spirit gets attacked with the RS, but it just floats into Yubel. So in this particular position here, there's no benefit to try and get rid of Spirit. Like, I can play defensively, and again, in a simplified game state, if my opponent wants to try and attack with Spirit to try and make me take the damage, I can use RS to negate the Nightmare Pain, and then neither of us take damage. So it just kind of elongates which is exactly what's happening here. It just elongates the kind of the position that we're in. So it tries to attack with Spirit. We use RS effect to banish to negate the Nightmare Pain. They're then going to use the Grave Scrummer in the graveyard to bring back the Samsara D Lotus. Use Samsara D Lotus's effect, and that's going to get hit with the Ash Blossom. And then we're still going to use the Fallen of the Virtuous in the end phase. Going to target the Nightmare Pain. Why are we... Was there a reason to take that back? I'm not sure if there was a reason to take that back. I'm not sure there. I don't know why we wouldn't have... maybe something can't be destroyed by card effect? No, I can't think of why. I guess we use Fallen of the Virtuous here. Go for Phantom. And obviously Phantom can't float. Maybe I got a step ahead of myself. Draw for turn. Back into a simplified game state. All we're going to need to do is worry about that one set card, which can kind of be answered with the RS. Like the RS can negate it, but then if there's any like synchro plays that can be made here, again that'll allow me to extend my field a little bit more. I think I drew a Full Loss for turn, which is really annoying, but just kind of part of it. I'm going to attack with RS, just counting the amount of tuners in my grave and my opponent's grave. There's the imperm on it. It only comes down to, like, do I want to reduce my attack by 300 or do I want to reduce it by, like, all of the ones in the grave? To me, there's no, like, in my opinion, just to get some damage on the field, there's no reason not to. So we banish the Ash Blossom just to negate the Infinite Impermanence so that the damage can go through its nearly max capacity. And then pass. Now, I'm pretty sure there is a Fua and then there's like a hand interaction in the hand, but set 1 card. And this is where the simplified game state really worked for RS, for Cool Tunes, because RS just, if it's relying on a top deck, like every top deck that my opponent does, it just gets answered instantly. Like whatever they they top deck, if they need this effect to resolve, it gets negated. Obviously, it's a little bit different if you take Yummy, for example, because you go normal summon down a monster, negate its effect, and then negate its effect, and then it just goes into the Link one anyway, Snatchy. So we've got Offer Prosperity, we've got Desires, which we're not going to take. We've got Ash Blossom, probably not worth taking. JJ Cool Tune, you're only really going to take it if you've got another tuner in the hand you want to normal summon. So we go for the Cool Tune Synchro. Going to activate the Cool Tune Synchro here. We're just going to add, this is just going to get us a starter. So we go for Q, we normal summon Q, Q gets us Red Nova. Like, I know my opponent's only got one set monster that isn't going to do anything to me, so we can start kind of building from here and start to extend our plays. So we've got Trapmaker Chaining 1, Nova Chaining 2, and then Q Chaining 3. We banish the Nightmare Throne, we bottom deck the Dark Beckoning Beast, summon out Rico, resolve the Trackmaker to get us the JJ Cool Tune, resolve to get us access to Mix off of the Rico, additional normal summon off of the JJ Cool Tune to normal summon down the Mix. And then search ourselves out a Rico for a follow-up of the next turn. And it's kind of like, if I synchro now, if I use Rico plus Mix and go into Remix, for example, I get rid of both cards on the field. So there is a tuner in the graveyard, so I can go for Loudness War, and Loudness War will obviously give me a bit more strength here. But we're going to go into Remix. We'll go Mix to target the monster, Rico to target the spell and trap, destroy both. The monster was Ghost Bell. We then get to attack with Remix. Keeping in mind that my opponent's got tuners in the graveyard, so Remix would be 3,000, but we've activated Pot of Prosperity, so it's going to be 1,500. And then RS is going to be whatever its attack buff is, halved. So that's kind of what you'll be looking at on that one. So don't worry, we don't win game off of this point here. Again, it kind of really comes back down to a very, very simplified game state. So top deck. What does my opponent kind of like do here? It looks like they got a spell card. I'm not sure what that one is. We're going to remix. I probably could have saved the remix, to be honest, but we go for... we're just confirming what's going to happen here, just in case they do top deck a Ghost Bell. We go for Mix to the field, Rico to the hand. We can Synchro Summon here. I think maybe my opponent passed. I think this is maybe their end phase, which would make sense. So we grab Q for the follow-up of Mix, so we use that as our normal summon. We draw for turn. Now, I know my opponent really does like Spirit of Yubel, and the amount of times Spirit of Yubel has really cowed me. We just go battle phase, and the spell was Triple Tactics for us, so nothing could be happening there. And because I use Remix in the end phase, again, nothing could be done. Moving into game 2. Now, last time I played this person at locals, they did make me go first. So I thought that they would do the exact same thing again. Like, I didn't think that they would let me go second. So I did a bit of a balance with my side deck. Like, I didn't go all in. I think I took Thuas out and I put in Perulias. And I didn't put any go first cards in, but I kind of just didn't clog my deck down with go second cards. So, like, if you've seen the side deck already, I was playing Evenly Matched, I was playing Dark World No More, cards like that. So I didn't put those in. I was like, there's a very strong chance he's going to stick with the same tactic, make me go first, and hopefully, hope that I brick up on go first cards and he opens up all go second cards. So we see that we do the standard Q play, Red Nova, Rico, Banish Gates, got Trapmaker here. I think I'm a little bit disrespectful towards Nibiru. Like, Nibiru would absolutely cook me here. Which is why I cannot wait for Zarlion, the Chainbound Dragon. Because then in scenarios like this, you could use Rico plus your Trapmaker and get you into your Zarlion. And then you've got that ability that if they go Nibiru, all you need to do is chain a card to it, and then you can negate the Nibiru, which is really important. So we go with Remix, we go one set card. They start with Harpy's Feather Duster. I think the set card, if I remember, is like Fallen and the Virtuous. So it's not really worth me doing it. So I do lose the JJ Cool Tune, which is a little bit annoying, but... There's always two different ways to use Remix. You can either fire off Remix straight away to get you back some resource and get you some monsters on the field, and then you could fire off straight away to an RS to deal with the first card that your opponent's going to play, whether that be a Harpy's Feather Duster or whatever. Or you hold it so that when you do tag it out, you get to get the most into it. So my opponent goes Effect Veiler. It goes Dark Beckoning Beast. I activate Effect Veiler. They activate Call by the Grave, target the Effect Veiler, and then I chain Remix. So the benefit of this one is Remix lets you add back any non-synchro tuner back to the hand. So if I add the Veiler back to the hand and then summon back anything here, which I'm going to do in the Rico, the Veiler still resolves and it dodges the call by. So that's kind of like a really good bit of a play there. Resolve the Rico on a new chain, grabs you Clip, which now gives me the option to go for an RS. Of course, I have the ability to go for... I think they've still got the ability for Phantom, as I believe I saw a Spirit in their hand. They also could go Almirage if they wanted to. Spirit is something I kind of need to be worried about, because then it would completely negate my Clip. And here's a good way. It's like, okay, we've got Nightmare Pain. How do I let this one kind of resolve? In an ideal scenario, I would have loved to have gone... Like, if they didn't have the Call by the Grave, I would have loved to have been able to go into... like Remix, into RS, but using Rico and Mix, then destroy the monster, destroy the spell or trap, but kind of make it work the way it works, really. We obviously have the Effect Veiler back in the hand, so we can use that again if we wanted to, which is pretty good. So he's going to go into Phantom. Phantom comes onto the field here. I don't mind this. So we're going to attempt to use Clip, try and bait our opponent out to use the Phantom. Tributes the Phantom off, and then we use Herald of the Orange Light to stop the Phantom, which means I resolve the Clip. It means Rico can get rid of that Nightmare Pain. Get rid of the Nightmare Pain so I don't take the damage, and then Clip's going to banish one randomly from the extra deck. I think I hit Aerial Eater. I don't think I hit anything too damaging in this scenario, but I do get rid of the Nightmare Pain. Was able to deal with the Phantom. This is what I mean, like Herald of the Orange Light actually puts in a lot of work. And in these scenarios, I wouldn't be able to use Gamma. I wouldn't be able to use... I suppose that the question would come to it, actually, is if Gamma was back at 3, would you then use Gamma? But I personally quite like Herald of the Orange Light. We get to go into Trap Maker. We do the exact same combo again, you know, making sure we can control our opponent's top deck. But then when I look at their top deck, I'm like, I don't want any of those hitting your hand. So... I'll let you have that randomised draw and make sure that I've guaranteed to put the Dark Beckoning Beast back to the bottom of the deck. So we've got the Rico here. Just deciding whether we go for Clip or Mix. We go for Clip just in case that, you know, if I choose not to use Clip during this turn. I also messed up the Trap Maker. So I added Clip thinking that I was adding off a Rico, but it wasn't. I was actually resolving the chain to add Trap Maker. So I ended up adding Clip instead by accident. Got the Mix in the hand. There's still one more card in hand. Now, I don't know what that card is. But again, I'm always cautious when I play Yubel that it could be Spirit of Yubel. Not that it does a huge amount on its own. But what you've got to be very, very careful of is it floats into Yubel. And then it basically means that you need to negate twice to get the damage through. So we synchro into a second RS. And the reason for that one is that both RSs are now 4,000 each. So we try and move to get the maximum amount of damage here. I am surprised actually how this... Oh, he's got 2 cards in the hand. So we attack with... I'm assuming? Yeah, attack with the first RS at 4,000. They take that 4,000 damage. They then use Spirit. And I'm like, okay, cool. So Spirit comes down. I can't negate the Spirit because I don't have a Herald of Orange Light. Like, I'm in a bit of danger now because if they're able to resolve the Nightmare Pain for during their next turn, they get to attack my RS and I take 4,000 damage, which is insane. But obviously the RS can just negate the Nightmare Pain. So we had the Nightmare Pain, and then we declare with RS, but we negate the Spirit, meaning that it will go for 4,000 damage. So I think there's a couple of bit of misplays here. Maybe you summon Spirit down during the first attack, because then even if I use that RS to negate that Spirit and then attacked it for 4,000, you would then be able to summon out Yubel. And then the second 4,000 wouldn't go through. And then in this scenario, again, you probably want to special summon it in defense. I know it's just like natural habit that Spirit of Yubel comes down in attack position because like you always, usually more times than not when you're doing it with like Nightmare Pain in rotation. So I think that's kind of like a bit of an overlook here. And kind of go from there. Anyway, so that's it for the entire duel. Hopefully it's given you a bit of an insight into how the deck works and that. There's a couple of different plays. And what I quite like about these is if the players watch them back, they can learn where they went wrong, learn what they could have done a little bit better. And it's all a bit of a learning experience as we kind of go. You can straight away, you can see though, like from the last locals when this match happened as well. I've learned that my opponent might make me go first in game 2, so I've got to be very careful on that one. And then my opponent's also learned not to run into fill loss as deep as they did previously, to give up as much advantage as possible. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.